don't know whether you're
Recording
aware
in
of this.
progress.
Don't know whether you're aware of this, but last weekend when you had Luke Cowan-Dickey involved, there was a lot of talk on social media about the protocols regarding concussion, whatever. Can you just speak to us regarding the protocols that players have to come through? Because a lot of people were questioning how a player seemingly spark out can then be on the bench and come on and play again 7 days later.
Yeah, there's strict protocols that our medical team follow that World Rugby have put in place that the players have to go through. And with Luke, we went and got a world-renowned specialist in concussion to have a look at him, and he cleared him as well. So he'd gone through all the protocols. And for people who don't really know a lot about concussion, every player is affected differently. Sometimes a player can get, as I said, can be knocked out and recover and be perfect in a very short time, and other players might get a very slight knock, and it can take them a while to recover from that. So there's no actual in terms of cases, there's no similarity between what players go through, and all I can say is that I 100% follow the advice of the medical team, and they go through the protocols, and when a player's past fit, then I think he's considered for selection. So I can tell you there's definitely no pressure from the rugby side, and if he's not right, then he wouldn't have been selected. So I don't know how much more I can talk about that. I mean, if there are, I don't know. I mean, all I can say is that there's people who are a lot more educated than me who are making these decisions. So.
Okay, on to the game then, Warren. You've named your latest team, and as of now, everyone will have got a crack to start. I have to say, the back row combination looks really, really interesting. How excited are you to get to see those three go together?
Yes, there's a huge amount of competition within the back row, and I spoke to them all last night and just said, look, you've got a license from me to go and get your hands on the ball and express yourself. So I said you're probably not renowned as line-out experts, but you've got to play to your strengths, and obviously we're strong defenders and great ball carriers, and so yeah, it's a different aspect to look at, but it's pretty exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go as a trio.
Can I ask you about the qualities of the man sitting next to you, Iain Henderson, who will captain the side? Why him?
Oh, it's experience. Being as a previous Lions tourist, captain of Ulster, captain of Ireland as well. So he just brings a calm approach to it, and he's well aware there's other experienced players in the side and leaders in the side that are going to be there to support him. So I think there are a couple of other players that we could have looked at, but I thought Ian was an obvious choice for us given his experience and stature in the game. And spoke to Andy Farrell during the Six Nations, and he was full of praise of Ian and his leadership and what he was bringing to the Island side. So it sort of was a natural fit for us, and a great honour for him too.
Can I ask you about the opposition? Obviously, the Lions were pretty young and inexperienced. The side that the Sharks have named isn't massively stronger. Can you get meaningful work out of a potentially one-sided game?
Well, I think the focus on at the moment is us concentrating on ourselves, and we're not sort of looking too much at the opposition. Yeah, they're missing probably 8 players that are in the Springbok camp, so they've got some youngsters. So I think they'll go out there with an attitude of wanting to throw the ball around, take a few risks, try and test us from that aspect. But we're definitely just focusing on our own preparation, and we can't really look at too much of the opposition. We've just got to be. There were things from the other night that we were pleased at, and some inaccuracies, things that we need to fix up. I'm really pleased with our our line defence. Close to the line, we had kept them out from getting their big men across a goal line from their pick and go stuff. So there's lots of things we've still got to work on, and we can't sort of worry too much about who we're playing.
Can I just ask you one finally about South Africa? There's talk of Peter Steph du Toit being in the second row. Would that surprise you, taking one of the world's best back rowers away from his best position potentially?
Oh, he's a world-class player, there's no doubt about it. But he has had a lot of time in the second row. He has played there before, so I think for them, with the potential with Snyman and Estabeth maybe carrying an injury as well, I think for them they'll be potentially looking at getting their best players on the park. So if they move them up to the second row, that gives them potentially more mobility, and they've got some quality loose forwards to be able to fit it and cover them. So whatever team South Africa put out, they're going to be tough, and we realise that.
Ian, can I just ask you about the honour of being the captain for the Lions for this game on Wednesday evening? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, incredibly excited. Looking forward to it. And the lads have been preparing really well for it. Off the back of that game at the weekend, we had a really good session out of this morning. Looking forward to another one this afternoon. So we'll got our heads together and got a good game plan in place. So excitement's probably my overwhelming feeling.
Thank you very much.
Keith Downey from Sky, please.
Hi, it's a question for Warren, please. Warren, I just missed the very start. Could you just talk about the three debutants, please, and just what your thinking is with them coming into the lineup?
Yeah, I think with those guys, it's just the message to them is just go and play your own game, and it's a great honour and incredible excitement for them to play their first game for the Lions, and it's just, for me, it's about not trying to put them under any pressure at all. They've got a lot of things to worry about. They'll be a little bit nervous and stuff, so just go and enjoy the occasion. That's definitely the message for them.
And I'm guessing that there's places up for grabs for the test match at the end of the tour. Honestly,
I'm not even trying to think too much ahead about the test sides. Just letting sort of one game at a time, and then as we start to get closer. I think that from a coaching perspective, it's a great position to be in, because we've got so much competition within the squad, and players already putting their hand up. And as Ian alluded to, the players have really been working hard off the pitch in terms of knowing their roles and calls and stuff, and that's been absolutely outstanding from that perspective. It makes everyone's job so much easier from the amount of hard work that the players have been doing. So we're starting to talk and joke a little bit amongst the staff, sort of makeup of the test size and how that's going to look. And some players have been putting their hand up and have had some good performances in the first couple of games, and hopefully that continues to make our job really tough.
And Warren, just finally from me, I know you guys have got a very hectic schedule, but will the English lads be allowed to catch up or watch the football at all on Wednesday?
Yeah, absolutely. There's already been a bit of excitement within the camp, and the English boys following the football. It's fantastic. They've got a semi-final, and from our point of view, it'd be great for them to get to the final and win it. It'd be just because it's a different sport, it doesn't mean we don't follow them and support them. And so to Gareth and the team, we just wish them all the best.
Thank you.
Hi Warren, just on that topic of balancing your squad with the tests in mind. 4 years ago in match 3, the Crusaders game, I think a huge number of those guys, about 13 of them, went on to start the first test. Are you finding 4 years later there are more players in contention for the tests at this stage of the tour than there were in New Zealand in 17?
It's not really something I've thought about, but there is definitely some there is a lot of competition. So it's a good point to make, that there is. If you look at the back three, look at all positions, loose forwards, and in particular those two positions, the amount of competition there is huge. So there's going to be some long discussions about where we are from that point of view, and we'll probably, as we get a little bit closer, start looking at potential combinations, not putting out a test team. That we think maybe in the first test against South Africa there would be definitely some mix and matching, because you don't want to show your hand too early as well.
And one area I think that so many people are intrigued by is the midfield. We saw Finn and Owen play together on the weekend. You've got Dan, who's been in great form, coming back in at 10 with Bundy Aki and Elliot Daly. On Elliot Daly, you must be really pleased with his impact off the bench against the Lions and what he can offer in that 13 channel.
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding coming off the bench. I thought, not just from an attacking perspective, I thought he defended really well too. He sort of got up there and look, we know he can cover on the wing and fullback, but I think sort of as you're getting a little bit older and more experienced, I think that's definitely a position for him for the future. It gives us a left foot option as well. It gives us a long goal kicking range from that side of his game. So look, I'm looking forward to seeing how that trio go together. Sort of, it's again gives us sort of different options, and as we wait for Robbie Henshaw to sort of come back from that slight hamstring strain.
And just finally from me to Ian, if I can. Ian, how are you finding it compared to 17? Does it feel as if there is a huge amount of competition for places and everyone feels they've got a shot of playing in that first test?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly different in a lot of different aspects on and off the field. But I feel like as a whole, we've gelled together. The extra time we probably got, having more numbers in Jersey, I think has been incredible for us. The test sort of team, if you like, that people talk about so much hasn't really come into a lot of players' thoughts. Definitely hasn't come into my thoughts really at the minute. Obviously, there's so much before then for us to consider in terms of players and getting stuff ready and ensuring you're getting your stuff right. So that for us is a fair bit down the line, and we're concentrating on what we've got right in front of us.
Thanks, guys.
Hey Ian, how's it going? Congratulations.
Cheers.
Just wanted to start off. You've only kind of been named a couple of hours ago, but I just know about that big Ulster connection with South African players. Have you messaged from lads already? And is that kind of strong connection between Ulster and South Africa? A lot of lads over there through the years, and even the last few seasons as well.
Yeah, there's obviously a fair few lads over here, and I've been chatting to a few of them briefly. Obviously, with the current restrictions in place, we haven't been able to maybe get out and about as we would in other years. But I've been keeping in close contact with them, just general chit chats, well wishing, and hoping everyone's keeping well over here from their side of things. But no, definitely having played with a fair few South Africans before, it gives a good insight into their mindset going into games, and I think we'll definitely take value from that.
A story that kind of cropped up to me that I remembered this morning was, when the captaincy was kind of announced, was that Marcel Coetzee story that he was telling us on House of Rugby when he was talking about when he came up against you in 2012, and he was saying, looking at you, he said, "There's no way this guy could be a rugby player." It's an incredible journey you've had as well, isn't it? Like it's just a great culmination of, look at where you are 9 years later now as well.
Yeah, Marcel's actually one of the guys I've been in touch with. After swapping jerseys with him in 2012, I think him and myself have come a long way. But no, it's definitely it's just one example of sort of, I suppose, the friendships you make and how you end up bumping into each other, be it in an international game or club games, or as this time it happens to be in a Lions sort of environment. So look, it's all those things are incredibly exciting, and I think add a fair bit of flavour, if you like, to the tour.
Cheers, Ian.
Hi Warren. The talk about Alan Wynne-Jones getting called back for the tests raised a few eyebrows last week. Has there been any contact with him or update on that?
I don't know. Not from me at the moment. I think the medics have been talking to him. He's on a program, so it's like I said. Made some comments about it that it may be unlikely, but he's the sort of person that will do everything he can to get himself back to full fitness. I mean, the prognosis wasn't quite as bad as they first thought. So, but all I can say is, look, it's a dislocated shoulder, and so it takes a lot of work to get something like that back. And we wouldn't even consider him unless he was 100% fit and was able to take full contact. So it's not something that we're focusing on at the moment. It's sort of to the side, and as that gets potentially closer, it's something we may consider. But it's, I mean, our whole focus is on the squad that's out here at the moment and preparing for these matches.
And then if you could speak a little bit about Gareth Davis. Obviously, he's waited 4 years for that first line experience, and now he's got his first start this week. There's a fair bit of noise, 4 years ago in New Zealand. What does that mean to him and you after sort of some of the stick that you both received 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think the stick from 4 years ago was because we bought players in that were close, and we did the same thing in 2013. But we flew players from Argentina to come in there, and as a result of that, I mean, they didn't quite get up to speed because they were still suffering from jet lag and having to travel all that distance. So, we made a different decision 4 years ago. Yeah, and there was some criticism. So absolutely delighted for Gareth. He's a player that I've got a lot of time for, and he's a different kind of player. The thing about him is that he's a very, very powerful person in terms of the way that he defends. He's got a great try-scoring record. Saw him score the other night, I think, in 40 test matches or something, 40-odd test matches for Wales. He scored 19 or 20 tries. So, and so the message to him is to not... I think all our 3 nines are different, and so to play to his strengths, and he, like I said, he does bring different strengths to the game. He gets off the line defensively, puts the opposition teams under a lot of pressure, and he's got the ability. He runs some great lines and support lines, and like I said, scores tries. So to go out there and play his own game and play to his strengths.
Cheers, Warren.
Hi, Warren. I just wonder if you could clarify something you said just now to Chris Jones when he was asking about how 4 years ago there were 13 of the test team playing together by game 3. You said you said to him you don't want to show your hand too early. Does that mean that in either of the games at the end before the test matches, so the Stormers game or the South Africa A game, you won't be using that as like a dress rehearsal for what you see as your test team? The assumption is that the test team would come together in one of those games when you say that. Is that a misapprehension?
It's just a misapprehension. I mean, I didn't even know that stat, so that was by mistake. If we put 13 of the players out, it wasn't intentional. It happened to be that way. So I want this group of men to feel that everyone has an opportunity, particularly right up until the test matches, and we won't be sort of showing our hand in terms of what we think a test side will be. And the message 4 years ago was to the players who played on the Tuesday night before the first test that we hadn't selected the first test team, and they were still positioned in spots up for grabs. And I think a couple of players played well that night and were selected in the first test team. So that's, I think as players, they want to hear that message. They want to hear that we haven't made up our mind and everyone still has an opportunity. And I think that's really important for the whole squad.
And you see that approach as more important than the other approach, which would be to get your team out playing together for a full hit out the week beforehand?
I don't think there's any right or wrong way to look at it. Like I said, we'll potentially look at maybe the week before what we think some of the combinations may look like and mix and match a little bit. So, I don't think there's, like I said, there's not any right way of doing it. We've spoken about giving everyone a start in the first 3 games. We've done that, and then, like I said, it's not. We'll look at how these first 3 games have gone, and then we'll start thinking a little bit further down the line and looking at the opposition and who we're playing against, and how things are going in training, and how the players are putting their hand up, not just from a game perspective, but also how they're preparing and training too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi Ian, Dave Kelly here. Congratulations on the honour. History may recall it's sometimes a dubious honour. Apologies for putting that in your head. How do you remove that from your head heading into this week? And also, can you just maybe explain what you hope to bring to the whole occasion, the build-up and the game itself? Thanks.
Thanks for that comment. I think like all the players, as Gat said earlier on, there's so many leaders throughout the squad. So many of these guys are leaders amongst their countries and their clubs. So I feel a fair sense as my job of a captain is to ensure that those guys are able to express themselves as best possible. And that's not ensuring that I'm the one doing all the talking or doing all the directing. Most of these guys probably have a better idea at what they're doing than what I do. So I'm happy enough to let these guys lead, do their own thing, ensure that they can bring out their strengths, and ultimately the quicker we can gel together, in terms of the game, the better we'll see the performance. So look, I think for me personally, I'm just incredibly honoured to be able to do this, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm incredibly excited about leading what I think is an incredible bunch of guys.
Dan?
Hi, Warren. Can I just go back to a comment you made earlier about telling some of the loose forwards to go play their own game? Is that the message to the guys in the backs as well? And how do you balance that message with making sure people don't go off script because they're all sort of desperate to make an impression?
Yeah, what I mean by that is that if you look at those players, they're very strong defenders and they're exciting ball carriers, and they've all got footwork and stuff, and that's kind of what I meant by that. Sometimes you get a different balance in a loose forward trio where you're picking a line-out specialist, and someone plays a little bit tighter, maybe hits more rucks and that, and so these players all have pretty similar attributes. I mean, some of them they're going to have to mix and match a bit with making sure they do the graph work, but like I said, is the message was making sure to all these players you play to your strengths. Kind of, we don't want to pigeonhole them, and we want to give players the opportunity and to play to their strengths. And for some, it's getting hands on the ball and using that ability. Other players, are very strong at the breakdowns, really strong from a defensive perspective, jackling and turning the ball over and stuff. So it's not. Don't read too much into that. It's just kind of like saying they've got a license to go and be positive in the way they play, but ensuring that we'll also sort of stay within our structures and systems and things, and as the game loosens up, there will be opportunities for them.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you, gents.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.